Shalom Aleichem. Today we have a learning from Rebbe Nachman's Torah from Parshas Vayeira, insights into the weekly Torah reading. Okay, so Vayeira Elov Hashem be'elonei Mamre v'hu yoshev Pesach ha'ohel kichom hayom. God appeared to him at the trees of Mamre while he was sitting at the opening of the tent in the heat of the day. So let's say it again. Vayeira Elov Hashem be'elonei Mamre v'hu yoshev Pesach ha'ohel kichom hayom. God appeared to him. So anyway, Abraham was sick because he had just undergone the circumcision. But still, he was sitting in front of his tent because he had the desire to do the mitzvah of hachnasas orchim, of tending to guests, giving people to eat and to drink. Let's see what it says here. God appeared to him when Abraham was sick and weak after his milah. Specifically, then did he merit a revelation of God. The same applies to anyone who is sick and weak. He merits the divine presence resting upon him. Nedarim 40a. That's in the Gemara of Nedarim 40a. 40, page 40, the first daf, the first page. Similarly, on Chanukah and Purim, festivals that fall on weekdays, one merits God's presence. So on Chanukah and Purim, these are the Yomim Tovim that fall on the weekdays, in other words, not Shabbos. So one merits God's presence. Likutei halachot. God appeared to him at the trees of Mamre. God appeared to Abraham, one moment, at the trees of Mamre. Let's see what it says. One moment. God appeared to him when Abraham was sick and weak after his milah. Specifically then did he merit a revelation of God. Oh, we just learned that. We just said that. Okay. God appeared to him at the trees of Mamre. Mamre advised Abraham to perform the circumcision. Rashi. Oh, Mamre was the person that advised Abraham to perform the circumcision. Rashi. The trees of Mamre allude to the two trees in the Garden of Eden, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That's the Eitz HaChaim and the Eitz HaDas. Mamre is similar to Temurah, exchange. For there is a path that leads to the tree of life, and there is a chambers of exchanges in which good and evil are mixed up, distorting a person's path. Abraham represents the person who seeks God by virtue of his efforts. He finds the correct path, and God appears to him. Moreover, because of his great desire for godliness, the Mamre, or chamber of exchanges, itself gives Abraham the advice to guard his covenant, to strive for holiness. The Torah describes the extent of Abraham's desire for godliness. Quote, he was sitting at the opening to the tent in the heat of the day. When a person seeks spirituality, he must learn to wait for an opening and never give up. One has to never give up to seek spirituality, to seek holiness. He must wait patiently, despite the heat, despite his burning desires. If he holds out, he merits that God will appear to him. He saw three wayfarers, for the ascent to holiness demands several efforts. One cannot enter one cannot enter on the first try. He ran because Abraham performed the mitzvot with joy and zeal. So 3 wayfarers, the ascent of holiness demands several efforts. One has to try and try and try again. One cannot enter on the first try. He ran. He ran to do the mitzvah of taking care of people, of guests that need to eat and drink. He ran because Abraham performed the mitzvot with joy and zeal. Likutei halachot. Ki yedativ leman asher yitzaveh es bonov v'yes peiso acharov v'shomru derech Hashem la'asos tzedakah u'mishpot leman hovi Hashem al Avraham eis asher diber olav. For I have known him, that he will command his children and his household after him. They will observe the path of God, doing righteousness and justice, so that God will bring upon Abraham what he told him. In other words, Avraham wanted to do the will of Hashem, not only for himself, but he did it for his children and his household after him. It wasn't just his own particular desire, predilection, that he wants to serve Hashem. This is the path that he feels, that he felt is for everybody, that he will command his children to continuation and his household after him, that they will observe the path of God, doing righteousness and justice, so that God will bring upon Abraham what he has told him. He will command his children. The main devotion of the tzaddikim lies in drawing knowledge of God into the world for all generations, for all of the generations, for the young generations coming up, etc. That's the role of the tzaddikim. He will command his children and his household after him. They will observe the path of God, doing righteousness and justice. Abraham prayed for the people of Sodom. In our world, compassion and justice are not really compatible, but they are unified in God's system of reward and punishment. Even so, one must do his part to arouse divine compassion during times of divine judgment. Even if it's a time of judgment, one has to try to ask Hashem's Rachmanos, his mercy. Abraham knew this. Although an angel had already been sent to destroy Sodom, and although Abraham knew the people were sinners, he prayed for Sodom to be saved. While Abraham's prayers did not save the people of Sodom, he accomplished his objective. He managed to arouse divine compassion toward Lot and his daughters, and through them the soul of Mashiach was channeled to the world. Lot's older daughter gave birth to Moab, the ancestor of Ruth, the great-grandmother of King David, the ancestor of Mashiach. Abraham's example teaches us that we too must engage in prayer to arouse divine compassion, even in times of justice and judgment. Likutei halachot. So it's for us also. We should learn from the Avos. Abraham's example teaches us that we too must engage in prayer to arouse divine compassion, even in times of justice and judgment. We have to always daven for Rachmanos, Abraham was davening for Sodom, where they were doing a lot of evil things. He was praying for compassion to them, and he did achieve his objective, to a certain extent. That Lot and his daughters, that they survived, and the soul of Mashiach was channeled to the world through Lot's eldest daughter, older daughter. She gave birth to Moab, and the ancestor of Ruth, and the great-grandmother of King David, the ancestor of Mashiach. Abraham's example teaches us that we too must engage in prayer to arouse divine compassion. We should always pray to Hashem's compassion. For Hashem's. We should always pray for Hashem's compassion, for His compassion, even in times of justice and judgment. Likutei halachot. Thank you very much. Thank you. Kol tov, hatzlacha in your learning and the doing of tzedakah. This is Rebbe Nachman's Torah, Chamishi Chumshei Torah, and the rest lives insight into the weekly Torah reading. Kol tov, kol tov.